Right, here we go. This is a really big topic. It's so important for the exam, so I'm gonna go big on it. Right, this is economies of scale. Now I know a lot of people are sitting there thinking, what does he actually mean by economies of scale? The whole point of it is Nike can make things for cheaper than a small company. That's what economies of scale come down to. Big companies have an ability to make things for cheaper. The thing is, if they can make things for cheaper, they can make more profit. That's the whole point. So that means it's really, really hard to ever compete with these big companies. So it costs Nike $3 to make a pair of shoes, whereas it costs a small company maybe $30 to make it. Now there's no way, therefore, they can compete with Nike, because Nike can make so much money when they make their shoes. But the definition, right, is going to be, as a company gets bigger, its cost per unit goes down. If any of you do this, and cross that out, if anyone of you says, as a company gets bigger, its costs go down, then it's wrong. It's their cost per unit. The reason is, for example, like Tesco have got a cost of maybe, I don't know, let's just say 2 billion. That's all their costs. Whereas a corner shop will have a cost of maybe 100,000 in the year. As you can see, the bigger company has got much bigger costs. But the thing is, their cost per unit or cost per product of them buying a product is much lower. So if Tesco want to buy a can of beans, so here's a can of beans, right? If Tesco want to buy them, they'll be able to buy them for maybe 12p. Whereas this corner shop will have to pay maybe 50p for it. And the reason is, Tesco is going to be buying maybe 1 million of those baked beans, whereas the other shop is going to have to be buying maybe only 50. Right, the thing is, as long as you know this definition, as a company gets bigger, let's get rid of this, its cost per unit goes down, then that's the key definition at the beginning. But in the exam, there's going to be 6 different reasons. If you know the definition, if you know this definition, and you can explain at least 3 different types of economies of scale, then you're in good shape. Okay, here are the first 3 types of economies of scale. Now, I know that for most of you, you'll find this too easy, so you can skip this bit. But if you're really not sure about this, please look at this one. Right, so the first one is risk. And the best company to use as an example is Virgin. If I can write it there, right, Virgin. So Virgin have got lots and lots of different products. So they've got Virgin Media, which is like the TVs. They used to have Virgin Coke. They've got Virgin Airline, Virgin Airways, and they've all got, I can't spell it, so I'm not going to write it. They've got Virgin Galactic. That's that thing where you can go into space. Now the thing is, if one of these doesn't work, like for example, the Coke thing didn't work, everyone just preferred normal like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. If one doesn't work, Virgin has still got a company. So the great thing about risk, this first type of economy of scale is, as a firm gets bigger, they can spread their risk. So if one product fails, they've still got some backups. Right, the second one is financial. And with this one, it's best to give an example. So I would say if you're a small company, say you want to get a loan of £50,000, that's fine. The bank might just about give you this loan of 50 grand, but they're going to say we want an interest rate of 25%. So when at the end of the year maybe you'll have to pay back 75,000. Now why are they asking them for such a high interest rate? The reason is they don't really trust the small company. On the other hand, if you're a big company, you might ask for a loan of maybe 1 million. Now, because this bank wants your money, and they want you to borrow off them because they trust you, they're prepared to give you that £1 million and only ask for 4% interest. So that means you don't have to pay hardly anything back compared to that small company. Now, this seems completely unfair, but the reason is banks prefer lending to big companies because they trust they'll actually pay them back. So that's the second benefit of economy of scale. You'll be able to get out loans, you'll be able to get a bigger loan, and you'll get to pay less interest. Right, the third one is marketing, and I'll do this with numbers again. Right, if there was an advert that cost maybe 1 million, so you paid £1 million to be on during the, during the World Cup final. If you're a company that has got 1 million, or I didn't put that, 1 million customers, it would only cost you £1 per customer to put that advert on. Another company who's only got maybe 10 customers, it's cost you £100,000 per customer to actually put that advert on. So what's better? It's much easier for a big company to spend loads of money on advertising because they can spread the cost of that advertising over more customers. So that's the first 3 types of economies of scale. Okay, here's the next group of 3. And I think, to be honest, the first one, technical, I find the easiest. Technical, all it means is, if you're a big company, you can afford to have big machines, and these machines make your product for cheaper. So the key words here is, a big company can afford machines, so therefore they can become more, I'm going to put it out there, they can become more efficient. This means they can make more, not just efficient, they also might become more productive. What this means is they can make more stuff in the same time period. But the problem is, for a small company, they can't afford these massive machines. So if you see how cars are made nowadays, big companies are able to make cars without even using any workers. You see these amazing machines that can make them. So that's the fourth one. Right, the next one, managerial, for me is the hardest to explain. And what this means is, right, I'll start off with a little picture. Right, if you're only a small business, this guy, the one guy in charge, has to be able to do HR, he has to be able to do marketing, he has to do finance, and he has to be able to do production. So that's not easy. He might only be actually really good at doing HR. Like, he's better at human resources. But the thing is, you have to do every single job because they haven't got enough money to have more than one worker. But instead, as the company gets bigger, what they have is they have one guy here, have another guy here. It's another smiley face, don't go away. Right, so we've got 4 workers now. So now we can make this guy here do production because that's what he's good at. This guy's going to do the finance. This guy over here is going to do the marketing. And then finally, I don't know, this guy can do... Whoops, didn't mean to move him. This guy can do the HR. And the boss can probably look over the top and make sure they're all doing what they should be doing. So the idea here is, the bigger you are, you can have more workers, and those workers will be better at their jobs because they're going to be just doing what they're best at. Well, the final one is really easy, purchasing. And the idea here is you can buy in bulk. So when you buy one can of baked beans, normally it might cost you 50p a go. But if you buy loads of baked beans, then the supplier is more than happy to let you buy them maybe for 30p each. So the bigger you are, the more stock you'll be buying in bulk, therefore you'll get your stock for cheaper. Right? They are the 6 types of economies of scale. So here they are, the 6 types. Can you first of all try and match them to their definitions? And then you've got to try and learn those definitions off by heart. So pause the video first, and then I'll show you how it goes. Right, first of all, risk, if I match that up, large firms can have a number of different products, meaning if one fails, they still have others as backup. The second one, financial, banks will give bigger companies loans and offer low interest rates. And the reason is because they trust them more. Right. The third one, marketing. Now, obviously, the cost of marketing is spread out over larger sales. So that means you can afford to have really expensive adverts. The next one, technical. Large firms can afford machinery which will make them more productive. Managerial. Where we go, one sec. Managerial, you can employ specialist managers who are better at their job. And then finally, purchasing. Stock can be bought in bulk for cheaper. Now, you need to learn those definitions, and you need to be comfortable that you can actually do them. In the exam, as long as you can explain 3, then I'll be happy. But it's just better to learn them all off by heart. Just very quickly, this is an example of an economies of scale question. It says, suggest and explain 2 economies of scale from which large businesses such as Honda might benefit. Now, the key thing is you've got to pick ones that you're happy with. So if I was to say financial, I'd get 1 mark for saying financial. Then I get another mark for saying, what would I get another mark for? For saying the large firms will be able to get large loans. So that might give me a second mark. At a low interest rate. Right, so that might get me a third mark. And then finally I might say because they trust big firms more. Right. If I said all those things, I'd probably get 4 marks just for my first point. But that's what you want to do. You want to make it so the examiner has to give you full marks. So make sure you can do 2 of them like that.